Do that money line. It's a vertical line. Sometimes that gets missed a little bit. It's in red. Starts at the end of the headline, and it's right underneath the mercury finger. Goes up towards that mercury finger. That section in between the head and the heart line. That is going up. That's age 20, 30, and then half of 40, where it crosses the heart line. Then that's the other half of 40, and then 50, 60, 70. So the explanations between the sun and the mercury finger. 2 lines, that's 2 incomes in your 20s and 30s. Then 1 line in your 40s. And see how that 1 line crosses over that heart line? And then 3 lines, that's incomes, in your 50s, 60s, and 70s. Then that section between those flirt lines and the ring around the mercury finger, you divide that into thirds. That going up from the flirt lines, that first third's about age 20, 30. Next third's 40, 50, and last third's 60, 70, 80. So your marriage and relationship lines will go across there horizontally, and then your children lines come down from the ring around the mercury finger. Now, I show 2 distinct lines in there. I know you don't have children at all. Let me see. No, you got 0 children. But I see 2 lines in there. It could be 2 or 3 things. If you've had a miscarriage or an abortion or something, and it's a late term, it could show in lines in the hand there. Or, what I've written up there, see the little green asterisk off to the side, left side? It says 2 lines show, and that could be nieces or nephews that you have bonded very well with, or some kind of some children that you have bonded well with. Could be friends' children or something. But it's a bonding to some children. Okay, I see the 2 marriage lines and 1 relationship line in between. So the relationship line's a lighter line. Now I've got it in red. And then the 2 marriages starting up from the flirt lines. That would be your first marriage. See, it's a little tiny short line. Put first teeny and short. I should have written tiny, I guess. Teeny means the same as tiny. And then the second one goes right across that area. Good. It's got a good color, and it's a good long line. And then there's nothing after that. I don't see any more marriages, no relationships, no nothing after that marriage line. So it may be that you'll both you'll be married right to the end of your years there. I'll tell you this honestly though, men have a tendency to die 7 to 8 years before women do. They have a weaker DNA. They have an XY DNA, and women have an XX DNA. And so that's why you see so many little old widows running around, is because their spouses have died before them. Now you should have received about 4 charts with your hand reading. If you'll find your chart that says hand analysis chart, we're going to work basically off that, and then we'll bring the other 3 charts in as we need them. First thing you need to know is your left hand is the past, right hand is the present and the future. It does not matter what handed you are. The left is the past, the right is the present and the future. The length of your fingers are your talents. Everyone has talents, so short fingers mean one thing, long fingers mean another thing. Nothing's good or bad. Look down in that lower right-hand corner of your chart where it says palm shapes. The shape of your palm is probably your most important talent. Oh, you've got kind of a rectangular, kind of a squarish palm. Athletic and practical. Now go to the upper right above that where it says types of fingertips. Upper right-hand corner of your chart. The type of your fingertips are your personality. You got a little variety here. You got 2 pointed fingers. They're not extremely pointed, but they're a little bit pointed. You like fine things. Sensitive, diplomatic and practical. Generally, you're kind of a collector. And then 3 rounded fingertips. Intuitive, quick, compassionate, And I see those usually in the people in the health field. Alright, jump back down there to the thumb now. We're going to do the talents and the fingers. That thumb is long. It means you will do well in life. Good manual dexterity. Hold tools and instruments well in your hands. You work well with your hands. Now that Jupiter finger, that index finger. Well, let me explain the names on these. Palmistry is about 2,000 or 3,000 years old, and they had gone through and they named all the fingers and all the different areas of the palm. And the names kind of stuck. The names were generally names of Greek gods or goddesses, or astrological names. So that index finger is the Jupiter finger. The middle one's the Saturn finger. The ring finger's the Sun, sometimes called the Apollo finger. And the little finger's the Mercury finger. Then down in the palm area, in between the head and the heart line, that whole area across the palm is called the Mars area. And another important place is right below the thumb, that fat pad below the thumb. That's called the Mount of Venus. Venus, goddess of love, because that shows your sexual libido. But it also shows if you're drinking enough water or not. A body can live without food for a while, but it can't live without water. So, you don't want to see any little wrinkles in there. You're a little bit dehydrated in the base of that thumb there. You need to drink more water, 32 ounces a day. You want to see that little pad just as fat as the dickens, so fat you can't even hardly pick up the skin on it. Okay, back over the index finger, that Jupiter finger. This is excellent. You got a nice long finger there. That's the boss finger, the manager, the supervisor, the teaching finger. Business fingers, really good too. It's quite long. Good business sense. You know how to make money. And then that ring finger, the sun finger. A little bit short, kind of practical, systematic, very organized. A place for everything and everything in its place. And then the little finger's a little bit short too. That means you're a hands-on person, very active. You don't like sitting at a desk to do scholarly work. Okay, heartline. Heartline is the first major line in your hand. You got three major lines: your heart line, your head line, and your lifeline. The lifeline goes around the thumb. Heart line's the top line, starts in between the Jupiter and the Saturn fingers, comes down. It should make a nice curve in there and then go off to where the flirt lines are. Yours is a little bit straight. Means you're a little bit tough emotionally, but it looks to me like you had some physical injury. And if you've had some physical injury, it toughens up your emotions. So you read the emotions and your heart health on that line, the two items. So it's a little straight, so you're a little tough emotionally. You have a tendency to kind of guard your emotions. And then your heart health, it's got a little bit of stress on that heart health. Look in the upper left-hand corner of your chart where it says lines of energy. Run your finger down where it says islands, ISLANDS. Look across there on the left side. If you see any of those little ovals or little triangle-y looking things with kind of rounded corners or little circles or anything that sit on the line or underneath the line, it interrupts the line, interrupts the energy of the line, so it's breaking the energy. And you got about three of those little triangle-y things in that heart line. So it's breaking that energy in that heart line a little bit. That's health-wise. But you're all out of place in your spine, right where your heart nerves go, and you'll understand that in a minute when you see this other chart. Look across the top of that palm underneath that Jupiter finger where it says sixth sense. This is your sixth sense or your intuition. And here's how that works. If you got a problem you got to solve, just clear your mind completely. Let it go blank for about 30 minutes. And then when you come back to solve the problem, you'll probably have it already solved, because that gives your intuition or your sixth sense time to kick in and help you solve the problem. So listen to the little promptings inside your head. They're there for a reason. Yours is very good. You want to see a nice little fat mount, a little mound. It looks like a little mountain underneath that Jupiter finger. Little mound. By the way, you got X's in between your heart line, your headline. When you see those little X's between those two lines, it means you're a little bit psychic. So pay attention to that too. Okay, let's see, it's the lifeline. Go up to the top, achievement lines. Upper left-hand corner of your chart. These are the lines that come off the top of that lifeline. Usually they'll just point up to the Jupiter finger, or they'll go straight up. If they're extra long, or if the line's extra long, or if it's got a lot of color in it, or if it's kind of thick, then it's an extra good achievement, and I circle it. So here are your achievement lines, the lines coming off the top of the lifeline. At age 15, age 18, circled at 20, 32, 34, 35, 40, 42, circled at 46, 51, 52, circled at 53, 59, 60, circled at 63, 66, 69, and circled at 70. And then that's clear around the back of the base of that thumb, so that's 70. You can't see very much more after that. Alright, your headline. It's your head and the spine line. It's going to tell you how smart you are by how straight across your palm it goes. But if you got any problems in that spine, it's going to show you with those little island marks. And I'll tell you this, I'm going to tell you this not because I'm just a palm reader. I've actually got a master's degree in health education. And I was finishing my master's degree in health ed in my 40s. I'm an old school teacher. And I started reading these palmistry books when I was finishing my master's degree. And it told me about how you can see all the health stuff in the hands, which was quite interesting. But I picked up this old book written by an old medical doctor whose name was Dr. Eugene Scheiman. I can't give you the name of the book, it's out of print now. But he told how you could see the spine in the head and the spine line. And I started doing that when I was doing readings, and by golly, it works. And sometimes my charts that I write match right up with the people's x-rays on their spine. You can see it by those little islands that show up on that headline. So find your chart that says Understanding Your Cervical Spine, and down at the bottom that is a picture of a vertebrae, and the vertebrae, of course, is the bony process that surrounds your spinal cord. And then off of each side of the vertebrae, a nerve comes off that spinal cord, and it goes out into different areas of the body: your head, your nose, your eyes, your neck, your heart, your lungs, your stomach. And then those nerves end in your hands and your feet. So find your chart that says Chart of Effects of Spinal Misalignments, and look at the spine on the left hand side there. That's all the vertebrae stacked up on your spine. Then see the next column says vertebrae. That's the name of the vertebrae: cervical, thoracic, lumbar, tailbone. Then the next column is the areas that those nerves go to that come off of each one of those vertebrae: your head, your scalp, your eyes, your cheeks, your ears, your face, your nose, your thyroid, your arms, your heart, your lungs, your stomach, pancreas, etc. And then the last column is the effects. And that's the effects that you get if that vertebrae is turned out of place. Headaches, nervousness, depression, sinus trouble, anxiety attacks, asthma, bronchitis, gallbladder problems, heart problems, stomach trouble. Where did I see that heart? And it can, so that column on that, the effects, it goes down and lists all the serious illnesses or problems, and it doesn't include all of them. But when that spine is misaligned, it turns, those little vertebrae turn out of place, and it sits on that nerve, and it pinches that nerve. That nerve goes out into the body, and it sends a little pain signal out into the body. Well, those intermesh with the muscles, and when it hits that muscle gets muscle spasm, and then it holds that vertebrae out of place because it's got a muscle spasm in it. So, look back on your hand chart, or the hand analysis chart. See where I've circled in the red areas? That's where your spine is out of place. So underneath that Jupiter finger, that's going to show your cervical vertebrae, 1 through 7. Underneath that Saturn finger, this is starting in between the thumb and the Jupiter finger. Underneath the Saturn finger will show your thoracic spine, 1 through 12. Underneath the Sun finger will show your lumbar spine, 1 through 5. And underneath that Mercury finger, it shows the tailbone, the sacrum, the coccyx. So underneath that Jupiter finger, I don't think you're out at the very top, the 1C, 2C. You can check that and see. Stand up straight and turn your head to the left. See if you can get your chin across your left shoulder. And then turn your head to the right and see if you can get your head across your chin across your right shoulder. If you can't get that across either one of those shoulders, you're kind of turned out of place in that atlas and axis, and you'll have to do what it says on the back of that sheet that says understanding your cervical spine. Go see a craniosacral specialist that can put that back in place. But I don't think you're out in that very top. But you're out about the rest of the way through there. Underneath that Jupiter finger, you're all out in that 3C, all the way down to 7C. And that whole thoracic area, under the Saturn finger, that's kind of out of place. There's a couple of places you're not quite out. And then if you're out at the top part of that spine, it's going to throw you out the opposite way in the lower part of the spine to compensate. So you're out in that lower spine, and I say that's turned out the opposite way so that you can stand up straight. Otherwise you'd be standing crooked. So you're out in that lumbar area, 1 through, well, I don't know if you're out through 5. Didn't see it too far over. I don't see the tailbone out of place either. Boy, if that tailbone's out of place, you'd know it. You'd have sciatica so bad you couldn't stand it. In relation to that head and spine line is the health line. See, it's right underneath that money line. It runs vertical on a slant. It starts at the fate line, goes up towards the Mercury finger. And that's your internal organs, your spleen, your liver, the bowels, the stomach, usually things in the lower part of your body. And you should have one clean line that goes up there. You're getting a couple of lines in there, and one's got a little bit of a break in it. Oh no, it did not. No, you had 2 just clean lines in there. So you're getting some slight stress in that lower part of your body, but if you leave that spine out of place, that'll get worse, and in that that'll stress that lower part of that spine. You really need to go see a chiropractor and get straightened up. Your guardian angels, or if you've had a visit from a guardian angel, that's going to show from the lines that come from the bottom of that lifeline. So I'm going to start there at the guardian angels on the left hand only. These are the lines that come from the bottom of the lifeline, and the line will come up and it'll touch on the lifeline at the age you were when you lost a loved one, someone you have bonded with. like your grandparents, your parents, your siblings, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins, old boyfriends, old girlfriends. And it'll touch on that line at the age you were, not the age they were. The age you were when they died. And then it makes a little tiny line that goes across the two lines. So here's the age you were when you lost a loved one. Like I say, it could be grandparents, relatives, old boyfriends, old girlfriends. At age 19, age 28, 35, 43, 55, and 59. Now you might have to do a little math in there to figure that out. To figure out how old you were when they passed away. Now, that's on your left hand. On your right hand only. This is a little visit from a guardian angel. And those lines will come up from the bottom. They will touch on the lifeline again at the age you were when you had a visit from a guardian angel. If you've gotten really sick, or if you've had an accident, or if you've been in the hospital, or if you've had surgery, or if you're in distress, it'll show a little visit from a guardian angel. Or if you've had someone that you have bonded to has passed away, very often their spirit lifts from their body, then it goes around and it checks on all their loved ones before their spirit goes off into the light, and it shows as a visit from a guardian angel. So sometimes you'll have a double number there. Let me see if you got any that match up. 27, 43. Oh, yours are close. They don't quite match up exactly. Starting in between the thumb and the Jupiter finger, going down. About every eighth of an inch is about a year. About every half an inch is about 7 years. So I just have to count that down with my cursor. Okay, here's the ages you were when you had a little visits from guardian angels. However, it does not make a line that goes across the lifeline like the guardian angel line does. This line just comes up and touches at the bottom of that lifeline. At age 13, 21, 30, 35, 40, 49, and 57. Okay, our last line is the fate line. Fate line is the line that runs from the base of your palm up to the Saturn finger only. If it goes anywhere else, it's not the fate line. Look down in the lower right-hand corner of your chart, and the fate line equals your career or your lifestyle. Usually it's both. If there's a break in that line, it's a change in the line. Yours was fantastic. Yours just went right straight up the middle of your palm. One of the better fate lines I read in a long time. So it's your career and your lifestyle. Sometimes there might be a little line that comes off the side of that line. So that's a minor little change. A little fork off the side of that fate line. That's a minor change, but when you get a break, that's a pretty good little change. All right, starting down at the base of the palm, that starts in two different places. If it goes towards the outside of your palm, you're very sociable and you got to have your friends and family around you all the time. But if it goes down the middle of your palm, you're kind of a private person. You have to have a little private time. Yours is a private line. You got a little bit of a change there at age 24. And then one strong line goes all the way up to 50. Where it crosses that headline, that's 40. When you hit 50, when you hit the heart line, that's 50. And then when it gets up to that line around the base of the Saturn finger, that's age 80. So one strong line up to age 50, that's clear up to the heart line. And then age 50 to 60, I get two lines. That's two jobs at the same time. Could be a job and a hobby. Could be two income-producing jobs. Could be a job and a family. Then that line forks into three lines, and one line goes towards the Jupiter finger, which means fame. You got a little bit of fame in there. See where I've written the word fame? That's kind of in your 60s. And then one goes to the left of the Saturn finger. There's a little asterisk there. Look at the bottom of the page. It says the fate line which goes to the left of the Saturn fingers means the spine is jammed. We already know that. And then the other line goes right straight up into the finger. And it goes up to about age 91. So you're going to live till you're about 91 if you keep your health together. Get that spine straightened out so it doesn't cause health problems. Oh, you got a little lucky sign in your hand. Up there, just off of the mercury finger, the little finger. See where it says lucky sign? You got a little triangle. I think it's set in that lifeline. It did. A little lucky triangle. Just a positive time in your life. From age 39 to 43. Of course, you're already past that. Let's see. I think we got everything on that chart.